Good morning for joining us for this episode of SBB University. I am your host, moderator, and the publisher of Seniors Blue Book, Amanda Barton. Delighted today to be joined by this dynamic group of individuals while we discuss resources for aging in place, keeping you safe at home, and what you can do out there in the world to continue to enjoy your independence right there in the comfort of your own home. So without further ado, we're going to introduce our panelists. We have Ms. Heidi Brown with that beautiful smile of hers this morning. How are you, Heidi?
I'm well and delighted to be with you and my colleagues on this panel. So thank you for having me.
Of course, it's my pleasure. So you have such an amazing history and background that makes you a very special geriatric care manager. Tell me a little bit about yourself and what got you into this industry.
Sure, thank you so much. My entire career has been in human services, social work, and mostly geared towards aging and elder care. I do have a master's degree in social work. My concentration while I was in school a long time ago was both clinical and administration. I've primarily focused on healthcare administration. The clinical background definitely serves me well in working with seniors and their families. I have a certificate in social work. I am a member of the Academy of Certified Social Workers. And the majority of my professional career has been in senior living. So that's one area that I have an expertise that allows me to understand from the senior living housing perspective, what's possible, what the regulations are, and also for the residents and their family caregivers, what can you expect? What can you deserve? So that's a nice background for me in working with seniors who are transitioning to senior living or reside in senior living.
Yes.
Beyond my professional expertise, I'm driven personally, as we all are, by what really is in our heart and what motivates us. For 2.5 years, my dad, who had complex medical issues, resided here with me in my home with my husband and with me until he passed away. So then I became the family caregiver, the daughter, and I understood the emotional aspects as well as what resources are available so that somebody could age in place and ultimately pass away in the home if that is their wish. So my dad inspired me and does every day to be able to work with seniors like him and their families to optimize whatever it is that they choose. If it's in senior living, if it's living in their own home, if it's living with family, if it's aging in place. That's where I am in my career. That's what drives me, and that's what inspires me.
Yeah, it's always really good to hear the backstory because I think that your experience level is what makes you good at the next part of your job. So that actually leads us right into Nima Patel with Stellar Transportation. How are you this morning, Nima?
Good. How are you?
Really good, thanks. Now you have a similar story about what made you who you are today. So talk to me a little bit about who you are, what your background is, and what led you to the transportation side of things.
So my background is for the last 9 years, I have done dementia care. I started as a med tech with a company. I was a life enrichment director, a memory care director. Then I went to sales and marketing. I have helped families through just with education, through their journey with dementia. That's where my passion is. My husband, his background is hospitality. He's an entrepreneur, business owner, has always done hospitality. So when we got married recently, we decided to merge both of our passions. That's how transportation kind of landed in our lap, and we took and we ran with it. We are able to help seniors that don't have transportation, don't have means. And at the same time, I'm still able to provide some training just where it's needed.
Yeah, and I think that your background, dealing with, people with Alzheimer's and dementia is just the tip of the iceberg with the transportation, because you're transporting people when they're coming out of the hospital, out of rehab. So you do a lot of that like second piece of the pie, because when people get discharged, especially if they're living in a senior living community, or even if they're at home but they don't have anyone caring for them, they don't have a way back to the community or to their home.
Right.
So you fill in that missing link for sure, for sure. And definitely your background helps you do that.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Tony, you are up. How are you today?
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure. And to see the background that you have, guys, I feel really happy to be here, Well, for me, I studied marketing. I'm from Colombia originally. I studied marketing and sales in Colombia. And I came here and I started working in different fields. When I started in the healthcare, private duty home care, it changed my perception or what can I do for a living. And that really gets me because I'm doing what I like. I'm helping the elderly and helping the seniors, and that really is, for me, it's really important because when you do what you like and when you help the senior, you are doing two things at a time. So I'm really happy for that. I'm really happy to help them, and I'm really happy to help the caregivers that are really hard workers and are in the front of the field. They are in the front line, and they are always trying to hard work and help our elderly too. I think that's the most important thing, and that's what I feel it gets me here, and I can just stay in this field really happy for that,
Yes, yes. You're joining us from Whitsyms In-Home Care. So tell me a little bit about Whitsyms.
Whitsyms In-Home Care started in 2006. American In-Home Care is the big company, and that bought Whitsyms In-Home Care. It started in 1992 in the East Coast, and we cover almost all of Florida right now. I started with Whitsyms 3 years ago, and I'm building the company. I'm building the company in the West Coast from Punta Gorda to Bradenton, to be exact. And I've been here for 3 years, as I said, and we have caregivers, we have CNAs, HHAs, skilled nursing, and we cover almost all of Florida. So we can provide services at home, at the facilities, and different places.
Yes, and you are the epitome of keeping people at home, aging in place for sure, with being in-home care. So we're going to go ahead and do a couple rounds of questions. Heidi, I'll start with you. There's quite a few different terms that are being kind of tossed around in the market these days. You've got aging life care specialist, geriatric care management. At the end of the day, they all mean the same thing. So tell me what these classifications are and how someone like you can help an elder age in place.
Sure. Thank you so much, Amanda. It is common to refer to myself and my colleagues as geriatric care managers. The profession has moved to become aging life care professionals. And I think that's important because it's more holistic in what we provide and our backgrounds. And for me, I have a certification. So not only do I have my master's degree in social work and 30 plus years in senior care, but I have a care manager certification. So I would suggest that when people are looking for geriatric care managers or the aging life care professionals, that is something that they look for because it is the platinum standard of expertise to work in our profession. So we are professionals. We do have an expertise and a specific focus on issues related to aging and elder care. And our goal always is to help the client, the senior, attain maximum functioning, of course, always with the consideration of safety and security at the forefront. We address a wide range of issues, such as cost of different kinds of care, quality of care, availability of resources in the community. When you work with an aging life care professional or a geriatric care manager, you get personalized, compassionate service focused on everybody's individual needs and wants. And it's so accessible. Care is available through your aging life care professional 24/7, 7 days a week. You're probably going to get to the benefits question in a little bit, so I should stop there. But just to give a little extra commentary on what we do as a profession. We would help the elder person, the senior, and their families if there is a situation with multiple medical or psychological issues, if somebody is unable to live safely or securely in their current environment, if they're not pleased with their current situation and need advocacy, if they're confused about their own financial or legal situation, if there is limited or no family support,
Right.
if family is long distance, we become that surrogate family member for what we call long distance caregiving. Sometimes the family member is just burnt out or confused about all the different options and solutions. Sometimes the family has limited time or expertise.
Yes.
Sometimes the family as a unit or a system are at odds regarding care decisions, and then we can help navigate or facilitate different options.
Right.
And
very much like that peacekeeper when
exactly. And then just as Nima said, which I love, our background in dementia and Alzheimer's, in providing direction and dealing with behavioral issues and the disease process of Alzheimer and dementia. So a lot of what we do is that long distance caregiving support, putting resources together, advocacy, and peace of mind.
Perfect. All right, Nima, we're going to roll down to you. Now, your transportation company does a lot more than just pick people up, and you're not an Uber. So tell me what type of services that your particular transportation company offers.
So our transportation, we offer ambulatory wheelchair and stretcher transport. We offer something called like a door-to-door service. I'm not an Uber. I'm not going to drop you off at the curb and move on. So we support families by making sure that they are comfortable. We let family members ride with us. We take them to doctor's appointments. We've done weddings, outings. You know, if you wanted to see your mom, we transport to go see mom. We do churches. So basically we do everything. We're just a higher level of an Uber. And when I say door to door, that means that we make sure that your loved one gets to the actual appointment office, not just dropped off at the building. We take them upstairs, whatever suite there is. We wait until they're checked in. And many times families ask us and request that we stay until they're taken back to the doctor's appointment, especially dementia patients.
Yeah, that actually answers one of my questions that was going to kind of tie Tony into. Are you able to stay, or do you reach out to home care organizations and kind of like all three of you on the panel kind of marry
together?
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about that. If somebody does have a dementia patient that's going to a doctor's appointment, would you and your company sit there with them, or would you call in a company like Whitsyms?
So we would do both. If there's a discharge and the driver just needs extra support during the drive from the hospital to facility or home, I would tag along and be that extra support for them. If it is an actual doctor's appointment where we need an extra person, I will reach out to in-home care or recommend to the family if they can't be there to have somebody
Like Heidi.
be there as a companion. Yep.
It all ties together, folks. For those of you that are watching, just know that these organizations all do know how to communicate with each other. And Southwest Florida is such an amazing area where we have these services that are available to you. So Nima, now the different types of transportation services that you offer, how would somebody pay for those services?
So we do private pay. I work with Medicaid brokers. They would have to call the actual broker or the insurance company. They can request for Stellar Transport to pick them up, or just any transport, and that's how we get the transportation. But a lot of my clients are private pay, so we work out. I work with their finances.
No, that's perfect. All right, Tony, we're going to loop you in here. Now, we as an entire nation are struggling with a caregiver shortage. What is your company in particular doing to kind of come through that, if you will?
Well, actually, because of the COVID situation and the unemployment support that, many companies are having difficulties or difficult time to staffing cases. We obviously been through that too, and what I can say is that our recruiting department is doing the best they can. They are doing an excellent job recruiting more care providers and, of course, qualify them and bringing in service. And I know that we are one of the few companies that can respond and staff cases, even if it's a last minute. So we are working hard and we are trying to bring as many caregivers, but of course, we want to make sure that they provide an excellent service. That's the most important thing. But that's how we're working with that right now.
Yes. And like I said, I know it's a nationwide crisis. It's not just for caregivers, it's for staffing in general, but it's interesting because I think that all of us know that the caregiver shortage really, it happened way before COVID. It's been a reality of ours for a long time. Now,
Right.
A couple of things. Do you talk to me about some of the policies that you guys have in place to make sure that you're hiring great people? Because I know that you guys have a stellar reputation in the community.
Thank you. Well, we actually we need to see first the certification that they have, that they are qualified to do the job. Of course, you're gonna see maybe someone has all the certification they need, but they don't provide a good care when they go to a patient's home. So that's gonna be something that you have to follow up with them as a rep. You need to see if they are providing a good service and if the client is happy with the care. So you know that with the people that you can count with. Also, we have a different background checks. We have an FBI background check. We need, as I said, they need all the certifications in place, and they are bonded. They have the insurance, and sometimes, and that gives us like an idea of what they can do and if they are qualified to work with us.
Right. I guess that kind of probably plays in really directly with your care plan to make sure you're setting those expectations and not only meeting but exceeding them on your part and theirs. So it's really good to have that in place. All right, Heidi, we're going to bounce back over to you. Tell me, what are your 6 steps to living well while caring for your aging parents? What does that look like? Tell me a little bit about that.
Living well while caring for your aging parents is a 2-prong approach. It's how you provide care and resources to your parent, but also how do you take care of yourself? So the goal for living well while caring for your aging parent is to avoid becoming both physically and emotionally exhausted by planning well, planning ahead, and prioritizing for yourself as well as for the needs of others. So there's 6 steps, and I could speak a long time about them because they are really important, but I will summarize for you. The first one is to establish a connection with your parent through honest conversation. And it's usually more than one conversation. It's usually several conversations, but the idea is to gather information about your parents regarding what's going on right now currently and what are their goals and desires for the future. And one of the reasons it takes several conversations is because it takes time for the parent to willingly give up some control so that they're allowing their adult children to plan with them for the future. Again, we want to get the parents to answer all the what if questions now to reduce confusion and indecision during an actual crisis. And also it allows the older child to truly meet the desires and intentions of what their parents want, not what they think they want. Number 2, and it really speaks to this panel, Amanda, is assembling your team. So a family member who's out there flying on their own, trying to put everything in place for their parent really is in some unintended danger to their own health and to the health of their parents by not knowing the right approaches or the resources to use. So assembling a team, I call it a care team. Who's on the care team? A number of people. It could be family and friends with actual assignments. So people are just not hanging out there, but they know what they're supposed to do currently and in the event of an emergency. Skilled caregivers, and that's where Tony comes in, so that you know in advance what are your care options for home care or skilled care, and having vetted that in advance, such as Tony spoke to, with all the certifications and the qualifications and the reputation. Elder law attorney to help with power of attorney or estate planning, a wealth manager to help manage and plan for the what ifs if there is going to be downsizing and selling a home and moving to a senior living. An aging life care expert, like someone like me, to provide ongoing management and oversight of all of the needs, the financial resources, and all the things that we spoke about. Number 3, protect your health or protect the health of the family caregiver. Stress from caring for older parents, and I can speak to this, can challenge every aspect of your life: work, your own parenting, your exercise, your partner relationships, and so much more. So we want the family caregiver to remember their annual physical exam, to stick to or adopt to a healthy diet, to sleep well, healthy exercise, and so on. The 4th suggestion is to maintain positive mental health. So everyone on the care team who is helping and caring for parents needs to have a good sense of self and be open to working well with each other. Not always easy. Easy to say, not always easy to do. And there are skills to help deal with the emotions of caregiving, such as negative feelings, sadness, grief and loss, isolation. And this is available to help family caregivers be sustained throughout their journey. The 5th one is use mindfulness to create and sustain balance. So these are very purposeful activities to get your mind in a place of relaxation, temporarily disconnect from the thoughts of everyday living, It's purposeful, done with the intention of renewing mind and body. And the last one is, no, what is the last one? I know it off the top of my head, maintain your gains, right? So if we've done all this good work, you want to continue to make a conscious effort to stay on course. So this will help you be fully ready in times of unexpected crisis or emergency, such a medical incident, an environmental incident like a hurricane, a national disaster such as a pandemic, financial obstacle. So you want to remain in control to avoid escalating stress and be ready to act in any emergency.
Perfect. All right. Thanks, Heidi.
Sure.
All right, Nima. Now, you have such an amazing background. How would you say your background is helped with your current position with Stellar Transportation?
It's helped because we know the struggles of transport. You know, working in different facilities, not having reliable transportation, not having safe transportation. There's always emergency situations where we couldn't find anyone or find a company that understood how to deal with different behaviors in dementia patients. So I think that's definitely helped us. Knowing a lot of people in our network has definitely helped. I think what sets us apart is the drivers that I have and me and my husband, we're here to provide the extra care and support that seniors need. So we're not just a transportation company. We go out of our way. I do transport at all hours because one of the biggest problems that we face is having somebody be discharged from a hospital after hours and not having transportation available to pick them up. So when I say we're open all the time, we're open all the time. My husband does drives 9, 10 o'clock at night just to get our seniors home and safe.
Yeah, and I can say Tony's probably over there scratching his head because, you know, at Friday at 5 p.m. or 4 p.m., it seems like all the social workers are discharging people. They're ready to send them out the door. And sometimes if they don't plan ahead and they're not proactive versus reactive, they're in a situation. So, Tony, let me ask you this. What would you say the most important process in home care is? And also, you know, just as I said, you know, we're talking about, what would you say the hardest part of your job is?
Well, first of all, for me, there are two important things during the home care. And first of all is the assessment. You need to have, and you need to do an assessment before you start services. If it's last minute, sometimes you have to start right away, but you have to do an assessment. You have to assess the situation. You have to know what is the diagnosis, what is the condition of the patient, if they're taking some medication, what is the list of medications, what are their needs, if they have diabetes, any other conditions, and you need to know what exactly they need at home. Also, something important is that in the same assessment, you have to know and you have to identify the hazards that can prevent any accidents at home. What we were talking in the discussion today, it's really important to identify these hazards and prevent any accidents. Something important too is to follow up. I love to follow up all the time with my patient, and I think that's the difference that I have with other companies, and is that I like to be in contact with my caregivers. I like to be in contact with my patients all the time. They pretty much send me notes in a daily basis or sometimes in a weekly basis. So I know what's going on, if they are eating, if they are taking their medications, if they have doctor's appointments. So I know, and I can prevent different situations. And the most important is to just keep them away from hospitals, you know. So that's part of the job. And the second question about what is the hardest part of my job? Well, first is to match the care providers, set up all the service for the patients. That's the hardest part. But also a hardest part is to see them pass away. When I see them, because I get too attached to them and I get very close to them, and when you see the health decreasing, that really gets you, you know. So I think that's the hardest part. But in the meantime, I'm really happy with the job because, as I said, you help the seniors, you help them get better, you help them to be secure at home, and you have to notice when they are like ready to go to move on to different places, and you have to identify those type of situations before. So that's
right. Well, for those, I would say statistically about 85 to 90% of seniors would like to age in place in their homes. So this is a dynamic panel that we brought you today to talk about services that will help you do just that. So thank you all so much for coming to today's episode of SBB University, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you.